Putin's military brutally attacks Ukraine. Let's bring in now Howard Stoffer. Howard is a professor of international affairs at the University of New Haven. He is a former Foreign Service officer, and we are so thankful, so grateful that you're here, sir. Thank you so much. Good evening. We just saw Jessica Snyder's report about the push to seize assets from those oligarchs. What would that do to them?
Well, it's a very important first start. You have to realize that there are about 120 oligarchs, and this is only a small number of them that the U.S. is going after. Other countries are going after all of them, especially in the EU. Collectively, these oligarchs control about $800 billion to almost $1 trillion. And most of these yachts, planes, and pads, these places where they live, is hardly a real part of the assets that they have squirreled away over the years. They've been waiting for this day for a long time.
It's not. So you don't think it's enough to make a difference? It's not enough to tick them off or to upset them or to force them to try to get Vladimir Putin to change course?
Oh, yeah. I think a number of them have spoken out and say they're against this war. They probably are afraid to say anything directly against Putin because they have a lot of the assets that Putin has distributed amongst them. Besides distributing it to his daughters and to his ex-wife and to his friends and relatives, he's given it a lot of his assets, his almost $200 billion, to the oligarchs to put away in places that can't be found. So they're going to be very careful about what they do. But it's a good start. It really shows, as the people of Ukraine suffer from this criminal invasion, they themselves are criminals and are going to be hunted down.
You call these oligarchs the glitterati of Russia. Explain the dynamic between strongman Putin and the oligarchs and how they support and enrich each other. You said, he's given them a couple $100 billion, but what else do they do? What is their connection and what is their dynamic?
Well, it all started under Gorbachev, when Gorbachev basically brought in perestroika and allowed some of the major industry owners to start getting bank loans to buy the industries they were managing. Then Yeltsin came in and allowed all this money to flow around so that people like Kordievsky and others could buy these industries and just enrich themselves. They just bought it up. They had the money from the government, and they've owned these industries for now, 22 years or more than 30 years, actually. And so by taking these sanctions against oligarchs, by seizing their assets, it's ill-gained, wealth that they have acquired, and it's about time. It's been a horrible scene to see that the people of Russia make about $11,000 a year on the average, and these oligarchs are living in incredible splendor, and that's why I use the word glitterati, because they are the glitterati of the Russian Federation, but they certainly do not represent the people of Russia.
Well, it sounds like the excesses of the 80s, as you're going through talking about Mikhail Gorbachev and Boris Yeltsin. I feel like I'm back in the Reagan era in the 1980s, which is when this all started, correct?
Yes, it started when Gorbachev started giving the managers the chance to start owning some of the industries they managed, and then Yeltsin accelerated. And then when Putin came in 1999, there were disputes among all of the oligarchs, and he basically said to them, I am going to be the president and I will resolve your disputes and protect you, but you got to have my back or you'll pay. Mm-hmm. And of course, Kordievsky was put in jail for 10 years because he went against Putin and finally fled to the UK once he got out. So the oligarchs are afraid, and they better be afraid now of the European Union, the United States, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and other countries that are going after their assets and trying to find out where they've put this money into all kinds of bank accounts, into all kinds of other physical assets that will be hard to dig up. But there's time. It'll be found.
That was my next question, if you think it could be found, and you said it will. As we heard, there are already 2 oligarchs who are speaking out against Putin. You said that they have said, they're against this war. There were some. The Russian billionaire owner of the Chelsea Football Club in the UK, now selling the team, although he hasn't yet been sanctioned by Britain. Do you think all this pressure, whether financial or public, do you think it is actually having an influence, Howard?
I think it has a psychological influence for people to see that these oligarchs around the world, all being Russian owners of the property that belongs to the people of Russia, they see that they're scrambling. They see that they're sweating. They see that they're worried now that they're going to lose a lot of these assets. And I think that's an important psychological edge. It won't have any impact or very much impact on Putin. Putin has basically isolated himself. He only talks to Patrushev the head of his National Security Council, and Bortnikov, the head of the FSB, the Federal Security Bureau. But essentially, once these oligarchs start hurting, he's going to get the word, and he's going to understand that things are very different, and it's not going to change until he gets out of Ukraine.
Thank you very much, Howard Stoffer. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much.